So already you know about what is IC and everything. So I will ask anyone of you, what do you mean by IC? Preeti,
Integrated circuits.
who is that? చెప్పండి పర్లేదు.
Integrated circuits.
So what do you mean by integrated circuit? What do you mean by integrated circuit?
Integration of active and passive elements.
Okay. ఇంకా still Vaishnavi. Bhuneshwarrao. Bhuneshwarrao. Number 16, Bhuneshwarrao. ICE integrated circuit. It is a single chip on which all the components are fabricated. All active and passive components are fabricated on a single chip. It is nothing but integrated circuit. So in this semester, this subject microprocessors and microcontrollers. So first, before going to start the syllabus, just I would like to discuss what are the objectives and outcomes of this course. Then we'll start the what is actual subject of this particular microprocessor microcontrollers. So the main objectives of this course are to familiarize the architecture of microprocessors and microcontrollers. So actually we are having a computer. What do you mean by computer? It performs so many operations, arithmetic and logical operations, which contains a central processing unit, input output ports, input output devices, some memory and some different registers. In a similar way, the CPU, if the CPU is a single IC chip and the complete microprocessor or complete computer is in a micro size, that is called a microcomputer. Generally, there are different types of computers. I'm going to discuss later. Nowadays, we are using desktops. Similarly, we are having supercomputers, mainframe computers, mini computers like that. There are, depending upon the size, there are some computers which are having size in a micro. So the CPU of the microcomputer is nothing but microprocessor. Simply, the CPU of the microcomputer is nothing but microprocessor, where it is called a CPU, where all the components are fabricated on the single chip. So in this complete microprocessor microcontroller course, the main objective is to familiarize the architecture of microprocessors and microcontrollers. Microprocessors and microcontrollers. In the first 2 units, we are going to discuss about the microprocessor, and also after that, the third unit we will discuss about the microcontroller. So let me we'll also know what is the architecture of both microprocessor and microcontroller. And also another objective is to provide the knowledge about interfacing techniques of bus and memory. So every microcomputer, microprocessor is having different types of buses. I will discuss later. That is address bus, data bus, and control bus. How these data bus, address bus are interfacing with some other external components as well as elements as well as memory. So we are going to get the knowledge about the interfacing techniques of bus and memory. Next, in the fourth unit, we are going to discuss about the ARM architecture, ARM. It is also providing the understand the concepts of ARM architecture. ARM means advanced risk machine. Advanced risk, where our risk is nothing but reduced instruction set computer. So we'll know in detail in that particular unit. And also the other objective is to study the basic concepts of advanced ARM processors. Okay, so these are some objectives and there are some outcomes. After completion of this course, you people will be able to understand the internal architecture, organization and assembly language programming of 8086 microprocessors. So what is the internal architecture of microprocessor? Here, the entire syllabus, there are different types of microprocessors, but as per our syllabus, we are going to concentrate on 8086 microprocessor. So what do you mean by microprocessor? What are different types of microprocessor? We'll discuss in the next class. There are different types of microprocessor: 8085, 8086, 80186, 80286, like this. So after completion of this course, you are able to understand the internal architecture of 8086 microprocessor and its organization and how you are going to programming the 8086 microprocessors. There are different types of programming. They are called as, I think you know about the Java and C. Those are called as high-level language. Similarly, we are having some machine language, which are in the form of only binary form, that is zeros and ones. In a similar way, we are having some other one called as assembly language programming. Simply we'll call it as ALP. So we are able to understand this architecture, organization and assembly language programming of 8086 microprocessors. And next outcome is you are able to understand the internal architecture, organization and same assembly language programming of 8051 microcontrollers. There is small difference between the microprocessor and microcontrollers. I will discuss later. So the 8086 microprocessor, maybe if they want, they may interact or interface with the external RAM, ROM as well as some timers. Whereas the microcontroller is itself having timers, RAM, ROM itself in its own architecture. The same chip we're also having, it is also having RAM, ROM and timers and some oscillators, etc. So we are able to understand the architecture, organization and assembly language programming of 8051 microcontrollers. And next one, understands the interfacing techniques to 8086 and 8051 based systems. There are different types of external devices, maybe input devices or maybe some output devices, or so many sensors, maybe temperature sensor or flow sensor or A to D converter or D to D converter. How they are going to interface with the microprocessor as well as microcontrollers, we are able to understand. And finally, you will also able to understand the internal architecture of ARM processors and basic concepts of ARM processors. It understands the internal architecture of ARM processors and basic concepts of advanced ARM processors. So these are a complete outcomes of this particular microprocessor microcontrollers. So that means after completion of this course, the students will be able to understand internal architecture, organization, assembly language programming of 8086 microprocessor as well as 8051 microcontrollers. And you are able to understand how you are able to interface some external devices, that may be input devices or output devices, to the microprocessor and microcontrollers. How A to D converter is interfacing with the 8086 or 8051 microcontrollers, or how D to A converter is interfacing. That techniques you are going to understand. In the similar way, finally, you will be able to understand the internal architecture of ARM processors and also basic concepts of advanced ARM processor. So here in this subject, microprocessor, microcontrollers, you are having again 5 units. So the first unit, we are having 2 parts. In the first part, we'll be discussing about the 8086 architecture. That is 8086 microprocessor, its internal architecture and functional block diagram. That means internal block diagram of the microprocessor and pin diagram, how the registers are organized and physical memory. Everything we are going to discuss in this unit 1 first part. And the second part, programming part. What are different instructions we are having for this 8086 microprocessor? There are different types of formats and different types of modes of addressing like this. All the instruction sets as well as how we are going to programming microprocessor, that will be discussed in the first unit, second part. The second unit we are discussing about the microcontroller. So already I told microprocessor can be interfaced externally with the some timers, some RAM and ROM, whereas microcontroller itself is having all timers and oscillators. So in this second unit, first part, we are going to discuss about the architecture, what are different input output ports, how the memory will be organized and addressing modes, instruction set of 8051 microcontroller. And the second part, how it is going to control the external hardwares, how it is going to provide the interrupts by using some program, how you are going to programming the timer interrupts, when you can accept, how you can accept, how you are going to programming some serial communication devices, some timers and counters, that we are going to discuss in the second unit, second part. And third unit, as already we discussed in the objectives or outcomes, we are able to discuss about the how the input output devices and memory devices are interfaced with 8051 microcontroller. The first part, what input output devices, maybe LCD, it is output device, keyboard, input device. So how these are interfaced with the microcontroller, and also memory devices, that is some such as RAM, ROM, as well as some external devices, analog to digital converter, digital to converter is interfaced with the 8051. And apart from this, we're also having some communication devices which provide the communication between your microprocessor, microcontroller to some other devices. For that, we are having some different types of communication devices. So in the second part of the unit 3, we are going to discuss about the what are the different communication standards, how it is going to transfer the data. There are two ways, that is serial data transfer as well as parallel data transfer. So how it is, we are going to concentrate on the serial data transfer scheme. That is onboard communication as well as external communication. So how they are going to interface, that is I2C bus, SPA bus, UART, RS232, USB cables. So how the interface is taking place by using this serial communication and bus interface. That is second part of the unit 3. And the fourth unit, we are going to discuss about the ARM architecture. Already I told ARM means advanced RISC machine. So generally there are two types of processors, RISC processor and CISC processor. RISC means reduced instruction set computer. CISC, that is CISC, complex instruction set computer. So there are different types. So after this 8086 microprocessor and 8051 microcontrollers, we're having different types of advanced devices. So in these advanced devices, we may come across some advanced RISC devices. Those are called as ARM. Simply we can call it as ARM devices. So we are going to discuss the architecture of this ARM in this fourth unit. And again, we are discussing here architecture, the register organization, some internal registers, its instruction set, and programming. Okay. In the fifth unit, again, there are different types of advanced again. ARM processor and again advanced devices. Those are called as Cortex and OMAP. So their architecture we are going to discuss in this fifth unit. So this is the complete overview of the 8086 microprocessor syllabus. So there are different types of microprocessors and microcontrollers. In the first unit, we will discuss about the architecture and programming of the microprocessor. Second unit, we will discuss about the microcontroller. Third unit, interfacing with the input output devices as well as memory devices. Fourth unit, architecture of the normal ARM processors, and the fifth unit advanced ARM processors. So now we'll see the first unit. Actually, the first unit is 8086 microprocessor architecture. So before going to discuss about the microprocessor architecture, we'll discuss what are different types of computers, how the how the computers are classified based on their size. Now, can anyone tell what are the different types of or how the computers are classified based on their size? Bhuneshwar Rao, number 16. Do you know about what are the different computers? Number 16, Bhuneshwar Rao. 26. 26, Narayana. Unmute your audio.
Yes, sir.
Do you know about the different types of computers?
అంటే కాంప్లెక్సిటీలో స్మాల్ స్కేల్ ఇంటిగ్రేషన్, లార్జ్ స్కేల్ ఇంటిగ్రేషన్.
Okay. I'm asking about the types of computers based on their size. I think nowadays you are having your in your home, you are having laptops and desktops. మీరు ఆల్రెడీ 10th క్లాస్ లో చదివి ఉంటారు కంప్యూటర్స్ గురించి.
సూపర్ కంప్యూటర్స్, మైక్రో కంప్యూటర్.
ఇంకా okay, you can mute yourself audio.
Yes, sir.
Next, now Navya, 23.
Sir.
What are different types of computers? Okay, Vaishnavi, number 19. So you are writing in the chat box, microcomputers, mini computers. Very good. Very good. Okay, number 19, Vaishnavi.
Sir.
Very good. Microcomputers, mini computers, mainframe, and supercomputers. Okay. Good. So now all of you mute yourself again. Only audio. Okay. So before going to enter into the actual our microprocessors, just we will see what is meant by computer, how actually different components, what are different components of computer, and how they are classified. Then we'll come to our actual microprocessor. Okay, based on their size, the first classification that is called as supercomputers. In the earlier days in the industries, I think you're observing this PPT slide. These are called as supercomputers. Earlier days, in most of the industries or most of the business people, they are using these supercomputers. So generally, supercomputer is the most powerful and fastest computer among the digital computer. This is also a digital computer. It's the most powerful as well as fastest computer. These are special purpose and is capable of handling huge amount of calculations that are beyond human capability. That means, what is the meaning of special purpose? There are two ways: the general purpose as well as special purpose. Special purpose means only particular purpose. So they are designed for a particular purpose. So they are capable of handling large amount of calculations. Okay. So it can perform at billions of instructions per second. Within the second, it can perform billions of instructions. They have the computing capability equal to that 40,000 microcomputers. So we're also having the very less size computers that are called as microcomputers. So దానికంటే almost 40,000 microcomputers ఎంత వర్క్ చేస్తాయో equal గా one supercomputer will be working. The next size, the largest size is supercomputer. After that, we are having the mainframe computers. These are completely, the CPU of this computer is this one complete ఉంటుంది ఒక rack, complete racks. These are called as mainframe computers. These are also large and powerful systems. These systems offers high processing power and lack in flexibility. It is designed for large scale data processing and very large in size with area of 1000 square feet. 1000 square feet means almost one complete house. The size of this mainframe computer occupies almost 1000 square feet area. It supports large number of terminals, more than 100 terminals. That means it can at a time it can operate or it can interact with the 100 external terminals, or that may be input terminals as well as output terminals. It can support the large number of terminals. It is suitable for big organizations such as bank, insurance companies, airlines, railway systems. So if you observe in a bank, we are having separate server system. The server room will be there. There they are using this type of computer called as mainframe computers. This occupies almost a complete room size. Okay, they can support almost 100 terminals. And the next one is mini computer. The third stage is mini computer. So these are just like your desktop computers. Our almost desktop computers comes under this mini computers. So these types of computers released in 1960s. Mini computers got its name because of its smaller size and cost compared to mainframe. Almost the performance and everything will be same as many that is mainframe computers, but because of its smaller size and cost is also less. The capabilities of computer is somewhere between mainframe and microcomputer. So almost it is having capability between the above size mainframe and below microcomputer. Majhalo the capability will be there. So for this reason, microcomputer is called mid-range computer. Okay, the next one is called, sorry, it is a small wrong statement. Mini computer is called as mid-range computer. So last one, that is microcomputer. What is the meaning of micro? Whose size is in microns. Microns means micro means 10 power minus 6 meters. Very, very small size. So I think you are observed. You can observe nowadays you are having desktops, laptops, and also we are having our smartphones. The size of this phone is almost less, and you are able to browse so many things by using the smartphone also. That means as the advancement technology is go on improving, rapidly increasing, the size of the device also go on decreasing. Nowadays, still we are observing some smart watches. By using smart watch also we can browse something. The size will be decreased. In this process, the computers are designed with a small size called as micro size. Those are called as microprocessors. A computer which is based on microprocessor is called microcomputer. That means the CPU of this microcomputer is microprocessor. It is a small, low-cost digital computer. The size it is very, very small compared to your super mainframe and mini computers. It requires only small space and can be placed on a table or even kept inside briefcase also. That is very, very small size. And next, this computer has central processing unit and a single chip. Just now I told about the IC. What is IC? Integrated circuit. So this type of computer, microcomputer, is having a CPU which is manufactured on a single chip. A small chip lone all the CPU may contains. Who is this Sunny? Gas
Sir,
photo.
sir, what is workstation computer, sir?
I'm not getting your point.
Sir, what is mean by workstation computer?
Workstation, maybe that is mainframe computers. At a particular work location, we are using the computers. That is also used for a special purpose. Maybe in your power
It is a
plant.
one type of computer.
That is also another type of classification. Here I am discussing about only based on sizes. And depending on purpose or different classification you may classify. But here I am going to concentrate on only depending upon the size of their computer. Depending upon their large and minimum size. That's why I have concentrated only these 4 types of computers. Because I want to tell you about what is micro. That's why I explained about this classification based on size. Okay, here I am discussing about only size. Is it clear?
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Sir, mainframe computer means workstation computer. Hello?
Tell me.
Workstation computer, nothing but is a mainframe computer, sir.
That may be mainframe, that may be supercomputer, depending upon your application. A particular work.
Okay.
For example, you are observed, I think you people have gone for KTPS, for industrial visit.
Yes, NTPC, sir.
NTPC, there you are having, I think, DC system, distributed computer.
Workstation computer.
Okay, I observed.
Workstation computer.
Maybe the size may be different, but that is only specially designed for particular application, that is used for temperature monitoring, temperature controller, as maybe flow or pressure of the stream, like that. Okay, that is based on their application. They are classified as workstation computers. But here I'm not talking about this workstation, all those computers. Just I'm going to classify the computers on based on size. Okay. So these microprocessors or microcomputers as central processing unit on a single chip. It is mainly used in our office, house, school, shops, etc. So now we'll discuss the overview and structure of a microcomputer. So this overview, the structure of this is not only for microcomputer. If you go for any type of computer, it is having this structure. Each type of, any type of computer is having these basic elements. So if you observe this overview, this generally, what is the difference between computer and microcomputer? The computer is also having input devices, output devices, IO ports, CPU, RAM, ROM. But what is the difference between the microcomputer and computer? In the microcomputer, the CPU of the computer is a single chip. Whereas if you observe your desk, another computers, we are having so many devices, they are going to fabricate externally. But CPU, all the devices, generally CPU lo, we are having ALU, arithmetic logic unit, which performs some arithmetic and logical operations. You are having some different types of registers to store the data, temporary registers. So all these components are fabricated on the single chip. So that's why this is called a microcomputer. So it is also having an important elements. Those are CPU, memory, and IO ports. What is called IO ports? Input output ports. It is the place from where input devices are communicating as well as output devices are communicating. 2 types of ports, input ports and output ports. What is input port? It is the place through which input devices such as keyboard, mouse can communicate with your CPU. That is called as input port. What is the output port? It is the place from where your CPU can communicate to the output devices such as printer, maybe recorder, or maybe monitor. General input device are keyboard, mouse, etc. or maybe some sensors. Output device are maybe some controller or maybe your monitor, LCD monitor, and recorder, some printer, those. So the main components of a computer are input output ports, CPU, and memory. And these 3 devices are internally communicated or interface through 3 lines. Those 3 lines are called as buses. I think already you know about what is buses. Those buses are address bus, control bus, and data bus. If you observe this one, these 3 are parallel lines. So all these 3 important elements of the computer, ports, CPU, and memory, are interacting or interfacing through these 3 parallel lines called address bus, control bus and data bus. So this is the main overview of the microcomputer structure. Okay, we will discuss the internal one by one internal parts. The major parts of a microcomputer are just now we have seen CPU, memory, input output circuitry, and also it is having 3 buses: address bus, data bus, and control bus. So what are the functions of these these important parts? We'll discuss very briefly. Can anyone tell what is the purpose of memory unit?
To store data.
To store data. So only Sunny is responding. Remaining people will ask Deepak. Deepak,
Sir,
what is the function of memory?
it stores the data, sir.
It
It stores the data.
very good. Any other function?
It consists of different types, sir.
What are those?
RAM and ROM.
Very good. Your number 7, kada?
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good. So now we'll see the functions of these major parts of the microcomputer. First, memory. So as already you know that these are all called as digital devices. They can store only binary data, that is only zeros and ones. The primary function of the memory is to store the binary codes for the sequences of instructions. What are the instructions? What is the instruction? For example, you want to add 2 numbers A and B. What you can do? You can use A plus B. Here the plus A plus B is the instruction that informs the type of operation to be performed. What is the meaning of sequence of instructions? The sequence of instructions to be performed to provide a particular task, nothing but program. Generally, programming is nothing but a sequence of instructions to perform a particular task. మీరు అన్ని వింటుంటారు program and software. Write a program to perform addition of 2 numbers. So in order to provide the addition of 2 numbers, we have to write some instructions in a sequence manner. First you have to get the data A, and next you have to get the data B, then we have to add A and B. So we need maybe 3 different instructions. So this sequence of instruction nothing but a program. That simply means that it stores a program. Generally, program is nothing but sequence of instructions to perform a specific task. To perform a addition, nothing but addition program, subtraction program. And also, in addition to the program, you need to have the data. That means data means here A plus B. A and B are data. So the main function of the memory is to store the program by using which we are able to perform some operation. And other function is to store the data on which the operation is performed. For example, A plus B, A and B are called as data antamu, plus that instruction is nothing but that is the program. So the main function of memory is to store the program by using which some data will be operated. And other important function is to store the data on which you can perform some operation. ఏదైతే డేటా మీద మనం ఆపరేట్ చేస్తామో వాటిని డేటా అంటాం. సో ఎగ్జాంపుల్స్ ఫర్ దిస్ మెమరీ ఆర్ RAM, some magnetic disks, optical disks, just like compact disc antam, CDs. Earlier days we are having the floppy disks. So those are also called as some external memory. Okay, so these are the different functions of the memory unit. So what is input output? That is actually input output port. Input output port. So what is input port or output port? Already I have told. They are used to take the data and give the data. Taking the data and giving the data. I think in your desktop, in your PC personal computers, backside of your CPU, you're having some ports through which you are going to connect your mouse, your what you call as printer, and also you can connect the
Keyboard.
monitor, keyboard, and printer. So those are called as ports. They are used to take the data to the CPU, and they can send the data to the outside world. They can provide the data to monitor or maybe to printer or to the recorder. So that is nothing but places called as ports. Technically, you can call it as ports. Shashidhar, an input device sends the information. Very good. Good. Okay. So these I/O devices are connected with microprocessor through these input-output ports. All the input-out devices are going to interact or interface with the microprocessor through these I/O ports only. The examples of these devices are keyboards, video display, terminals, some printers, and some modems. So the next and most important unit is the central processing unit, CPU. CPU. So what is the function of CPU? Mrudula. Are you there?
Yes, sir.
So can you tell me what is the function of CPU, or what is CPU? What does it contain? And what it perform?
Main function of
Mrudula
the
చెప్పనివ్వండి.
CPU, main function of the computer.
Main function, main art of the computer. Okay.
Main part of the computer.
ఏం చేస్తున్నది? What does it perform?
Controls
Controls.
all the functions in the computer.
Okay, good. Next. Okay. So the entire subject is microprocessor. That is nothing but a CPU itself. So actually we are going to concentrate on the CPU. That is the microprocessor, nothing but a CPU of the microcomputer. So we have to discuss about the what is CPU first. As Mrudula said, it controls the operation of computer. All the operations of the computer will be controlled by this unit, central processing unit. Aim chestundi, fetches the binary code instruction from memory. That means the program first we can store in a memory. That can be fetching means getting the data, getting the instructions from the memory. So that is that performance. Decodes. I will tell you what is decoding and everything in the later classes. Decodes means actually a simple way. The programs or the instructions will be written in the form of only zeros and ones.
Decode.
Sorry, the machine, the CPU can understand only zeros and ones. But as a user, you can write the program either in high-level language or assembly language. Maybe in the form of C language, Java, like that. Pascal, but you can also use some other language called as assembly language program. But your computer digital components may not understand. For that, we need to convert that language into understandable language of the system. For that, we are using a process called as decoding atom. So the CPU will perform the decoding. It decodes the instruction into a series of simple actions. Carries out these actions in a sequence of steps. One by one it performs. So the important components of this CPU are IP, instruction pointer. There are some general purpose registers. I will tell you what are the general purpose, special purpose also. Some control bus and generating circuits. So just after that we will discuss about the buses, and after that we'll go for the what is actual microprocessor and one. So just today as an overview, I have discussed about what is microprocessor, microcontroller subject, and what are the basic objectives. Why this course is introduced to your syllabus in your curriculum. What are the basic objectives of this syllabus course. That is to familiarize the architecture of microcontrollers, understand concepts of ARM like that. And also we have discussed the outcomes and syllabus overview. And just I have given a small idea about the different types of computers based on sizes and some architecture of the microcomputer. So next class we will discuss about the remaining parts of the computer. And next, what is microprocessor? And then we'll discuss the architecture and evolution of the microprocessor. And then we'll go for the in detail of the functional block diagram of 8086, etc. So with this, I'm going to conclude the today's class. I think at 10:30 you're having another class. Okay. Once again, all of you unmute your videos. Just I will take a screenshot for attendance purpose. Every day I will take first 5 minutes and last 5 minutes. But not only this first and last, all of you should turn on your videos, the complete class.